In today's lecture, we will study some more basics about the timing diagrams, how the timing diagrams are drawn for the execution of different instructions. We have already studied that to execute one instruction of a program, some steps are required, out of which we have studied that the first step is always to execute to fetch the opcode from the memory. The second step would be to decode that opcode which has been fetched from the memory. In the third step, we fetch the remaining bytes if the instruction is 2 or 3 byte instruction, and the fourth step, which is the last step, is the execution of the instruction. Am I audible? Okay. So let us move ahead. Let us see here that how the execution of move a comma b instruction is executed and how the timing diagram for this instruction is drawn. So let us see. We arbitrarily choose some of the memory addresses here. Let we have stored this move a comma b instruction, which we are going to study in terms of its timing diagram. So let us see that this instruction has been stored in the memory address C000H. It can be any address. Why I have chosen any arbitrarily any address which is any arbitrary address. We already know that we have studied that the opcode for this instruction is 78H move a comma b. Now, because this is one byte instruction, it would require only one memory location to store it. So C001H would be the next location where some another instruction can be stored. So let's suppose we have stored this instruction move C comma M. This instruction is again one byte instruction, so only one memory location would be required. Let us suppose the third instruction we have stored on address C002H, and the opcode for this MVI M comma 25H is 36H. But these two instructions were one byte instruction. On the other hand, this instruction MVI M comma 25H, because 25H is one immediate data. So this is one 8-bit data. So there would be one opcode which would be one 8-bit data, and there will be another 8-bit data that is 25H. So this instruction totally becomes a 2-byte instruction. So two memory locations will be required. So that's why C002H and C003H are required to store this complete instruction, out of which in the first memory location C002H, the opcode for this instruction would be stored, and this is the data which has been provided with this instruction. So let us suppose now that we are going to firstly see that how the timing diagram for this instruction move a comma b is drawn. Okay, so let us see. We already saw in the previous slide here that this instruction has been stored in the memory location C000H. So let us say here that the program counter contains. I will write directly PC that the program counter has C000H as its contents. Okay, because we are starting to execute one program whose first instruction has been stored in this location, and that instruction is move a comma b. Move a comma b, and the opcode for this instruction is 78H. So that 78H, let us suppose that we have stored that 78H in this location C000H. Okay, what it means that 8085 desired to fetch and execute the instruction starting at memory location C000H. Okay, getting? So what 8085 desires, it desires to fetch the instruction, fetch the opcode from this location, because the program counter contents are initially C000H. So what it means? It shows that microprocessor desires to fetch the very first opcode of the program from this memory location, and it wants to execute that opcode. Okay. So how the execution is performed? Let us see the steps for that. In the first step, step number 1 of the execution of this instruction from this memory location, the contents of the program counter is sent to the, I am writing some of the things here so that it would be easy for you to understand. The contents of program counter, that is C000H. Okay, the contents of the program counter is sent to the address latch. To the address latch uh, inside 8085 microprocessor. So what microprocessor will do? The CPU will send the contents of the program counter, because program counter contents are C000H. So these C000H contents would be sent to the address latch. We have already seen what is address latch. Okay. One ALE signal is provided to this address latch, and there are uh, AD0 to AD7 lines connected to this address latch, and higher order bus is not connected to address latch because we do not need to demultiplex higher order bus. So only lower order address data bus is connected to address latch so as to get the address and data as per the requirement. So firstly, what we would require, that these content C000H will be sent towards latch, where what will happen, that this value C000H is sent out on the address pins of the 8085, is sent out on the address pins of 8085. Okay, so we already know that in C000H, this is the higher order address, this is the lower order address. So lower order address 00 would be sent through lines A7 to A0. Higher order address, that is C0H, would be sent on the higher order address bus. So in total, this C000H address would be sent on these lines A0 to A15. Getting what we said here, that the most significant byte of the address C0 is sent out on A8 to A15 lines, and the least significant byte of the address, that is 00H, is sent out on the pins AD7 to 0, that is A7 to A0. Okay, and this is done. This all is done. You have to remember, this is done during the beginning of T1. During the beginning of T1 T state, T1 clock cycle. We have already seen opcode fetch machine cycle timing diagram. So out of which, during this T1 state only this thing happens. You have to remember that the address is sent out towards the latch by the CPU during the beginning of the T1 clock cycle. Okay. In addition to the address information, some status signals. So in the step number 2, in addition to in addition to uh, this address information, in addition to address status signals are also shown on the timing diagrams and are activated by the control unit of the CPU during T1. Okay, status signals during T1 are activated. कौन कौन से स्टेटस सिग्नल्स होते हैं? फर्स्टली ALE becomes 1 whenever we have to demultiplex. We have to get the address from these address data lines. So at that time, during the beginning of the T1, ALE signal becomes high. CPU automatically makes this ALE signal 1, which indicates address present on AD7 to 0. Yeah, or you can write AD7 to AD0. Secondly, input output slash m bar becomes 0. Why? It because it indicates the address for memory, because we are going to address the memory of 8085. We are not going to address here the input output device. If we are going to address input output device, then and then only this input output slash m bar signal will become 1. But in the opcode fetch cycle, it becomes always during the T1 clock cycle of the opcode fetch machine cycle, this signal always becomes 0, because it has to get this address. Okay, this C000H. This address is the address of this memory location where the instructions or program has been stored. In the third, S1 becomes 1 and S0 also becomes 1. What it means? We have already seen 0, 1, 1 for these three signals means opcode fetch cycle. This S1 equal to 0 and S0 equal to 0 means opcode fetch cycle. Okay. So address information is sent on AD0 to AD7 only during T1. Okay. What we saw here, that address information is sent on the beginning, means during the beginning of T1 only. In T2, what happens? During T2, 8085 stops sending address and tri-states AD7 to AD0. For some time, AD7 to AD0 lines, this bus is tri-stated because we only require the address during T1 clock cycle. So during T2 clock cycle, CPU stops sending the address from this bus, and these lines are tri-stated. So what is expected here? That CPU is expecting that memory chip should now drive the AD7 to AD0 pins with the opcode. With the opcode, because we have addressed now the memory location which is C000H using the address lines. So what will happen now? The CPU will stop sending the address through these lines. On the other hand, AD15 to AD7 will still be having the higher order address. But because this AD7 to AD0, these are required for sending or receiving data also. So CPU stops sending address through these lines during T2 clock cycle, and CPU is expecting to drive this AD7 to AD0 pins with the opcode, because opcode will be fetched through these data lines also. Okay. So at the what happens, that Logic 1 value will only be sent out on the ALE pin during T1 clock cycle only. So we have already seen this, that ALE becomes high during T1 clock cycle only. Okay, so during this clock cycle, least significant byte of the address is sent out on 87 to 80. Whenever this T1 becomes high, the address latch does latching of this least significant byte of the address. This address will now be latched here. Means it would be stored here permanently whenever this ALE signal becomes low. As soon as ALE signal becomes zero here, this address will be latched here in this latch, because latch means some storage unit, some storage device. So this storage device stores the lower order address here whenever this ALE signal becomes zero. Okay, so when ALE is made zero, the address latch does the latching of the least significant byte of the address before the end of the T1. So this all happens before the end of T1. So still T1 has not ended. So only during the beginning of T2, RD bar will be made zero. This read bar signal, we have already seen this read bar signal becomes low because it is active low signal. When it will become low, whenever we would be required, this address data bus would be required to fetch the opcode from the memory. So during the fetching of opcode from the memory means it is reading. This CPU is reading some data from this memory, and that data is the opcode 78H. So this opcode will be fetched by the CPU as soon as this RD bar signal becomes low, because this means read, and read means the memory read operation. So memory read operation would be performed here during the T2 clock cycle. Getting? So as soon as T2 clock cycle starts, during T2 clock cycle, at the starting, this RD bar signal becomes 0. Okay, RD bar signal becomes 0. What it means that it enables the memory to the output. It enables memory to output the opcode after the access time of the memory chip. Okay, getting? It enables the memory to output the opcode. So this opcode will be output through data lines. Okay, after the access time of the memory chip. So as soon as the CPU has accessed this memory, after the accessing time, that is the T1 clock cycle. So during T1 clock cycle, this CPU accesses this memory, and during T2 clock cycle, this RD bar becomes low, and this 78H data, which is the opcode for this instruction, it is fetched. Okay, so at the end of T2, so we have seen up to T2 here. What will happen after T2 or at the end of the T2? Let us see that at the end of T2, the 8085 the 8085 uh, will sense the ready input, and we already know what is the meaning of ready. Ready means if the memory or input output device is ready to accept data, then and then only this ready pin will become high. On the other hand, it will remain zero until the CPU requires some wait states. So during the end of the T2, 8085 will sense the ready input. If it is zero, let us suppose this ready is equal to zero, Then the 8085 understands that memory device is not yet ready to supply the opcode. Okay, so means that memory device, that hard disk is not ready. It is not so fast to output the opcode on the data bus. If this RD, this ready signal is 0. If this ready signal becomes 1, then immediately the memory will become ready to send opcode or data. Opcode or data. So for the time being, if this RD, this ready signal is 0, some wait states are introduced. Wait states are introduced by the CPU in between these T states. So we have seen, sorry, T1 state, T2 state, T3 T state, T4 T states. Okay, and we have seen here this clock signal, A7 to A15, A8 to A15, ALE, and all the signals here. But if suppose at the end of the T2, if this ready input is not 1, then this T3 state would not happen. There would be some wait states introduced here until this ready becomes 1. So the time period will increase for the execution of that instruction if this ready input is not 1. Okay, let us move ahead now. So in such a case, the next clock cycle will not be termed as T3 and it will be termed as wait state. It will be termed as T wait. You can write T wait. You will not write it T3. Okay. At the end of the T wait, if ready input will become 1, then 8085 goes to T3 state. Okay. And it will perform the next operation desired. So it is the responsibility of the system designer to introduce appropriate number of wait states. If the memory or peripheral devices that are connected to your CPU are slower than that of your CPU. So if suppose we have this 8085 microprocessor and we have connected or interfaced one memory chip here, or we have suppose interfaced some input output devices. If these devices are slow, suppose this memory is slow, so 8085 should introduce some wait states which are called as T wait. So those T wait states are introduced in between the means the T2 or T3 states, T2 and T3 states of the opcode fetch cycle. These will also be introduced during the memory read machine cycle. These will also be introduced during the memory write machine cycle or input output read or write cycles. Okay, so but today's or modern microprocessors or modern input output peripheral devices or memory devices do not require to introduce wait states because these also work on very high frequencies like 3 megahertz in 8085. So today's microprocessor work on the frequencies of the order of 2 to 3 gigahertz. So that's why no wait states are required, and these devices are as much faster as our CPU are. So thus, let's move ahead now. At the beginning of T3, the opcode will be received via the 8085. So what will happen in the T3 now? This is the end of T2. During the beginning of the T3, opcode will receive. Opcode will be received by 8085 And where it will be received? It will be received in the instruction register. So this is how the instruction register works. So our opcode is stored in the instruction register at the beginning of T3 state. Okay, at the beginning of the T3 state, and through what lines this opcode is received? This is received through AD7 to AD0, which are now working as D7 to D0 pins. Getting? These are now working as D0 to D7 lines. Okay. So thus, in 3 clock cycle, what the microprocessor has done, the opcode has been received by the instruction register. The decoding is now done during the T4 clock cycle. So decoding is done during the T4 clock cycle, because during up to T3 clock cycles, the microprocessor, the CPU, has only received the instruction opcode in the instruction register of it. So that instruction, this now 78H would be stored in this instruction register, because it is again an 8-bit register. So this 78H now would be decoded by the CPU. Okay. So that decoding will be done in the T4 state, which is the last state of opcode fetch cycle here we have seen. So what will happen here? The control unit will understand that the opcode corresponds to 1 byte instruction. So after decoding, or during the decoding of this instruction, the CPU will understand that this is a 1 byte instruction whose mnemonic is whose mnemonic is move A comma B, because it has successfully decoded 78H instruction now. Okay, so the microprocessor has now understood that the instruction is move A comma B. So it will generate the necessary control signals such that the B register contents are moved to the A register. So necessary control signals would be internally generated by the CPU so as to move the contents from B register to the A register. Huh? Okay, and these contents would be moved via multiplexer, because our address data, lower order address data line is multiplexed. So through multiplexer, these contents will move. Okay, so the decoding plus execution would be completed in T4 clock cycle if the instruction is 1 byte instruction only. So for 1 byte instruction, what we know here, that for these kind of instructions which are 1 byte instructions like move A comma B, we require only the opcode fetch cycle, and during opcode fetch cycle, all the decoding, fetching, and execution of the instruction takes place. So look at the diagram. Look at this. C000H 78H would be sent to the instruction register. The instruction would require 3 plus 1 clock cycle. This plus 1 means for execution and decoding. These 3 clock cycles would be required for fetching of the 78H from this memory location. Okay, and now the program counter will jump to the next memory locations. So look at this diagram here. So is this diagram visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so try to zoom in the diagram. What we can see here, that this decode plus execution has been written here in some cases. In some cases means there are some instructions also where we do not only require, there are 1 byte instructions also in 8085 where we do not require only 4 clock cycles. Sometimes we require 6 clock cycles. Okay, like DCXB, INXB. These kind of instructions are also 1 byte instructions, but these are not executed during the 4 clock cycles of opcode fetch. Okay, these are executed. These require 6 clock cycles. These require 6 clock cycles. Okay, so look at the diagram here. A15 to A8 PCH means higher order program counter data. Higher order program counter data. Okay. Now look at this diagram here. This what has been written here, that this transition from this state to this state or this state to this state means change. Okay. So this is some change here, and this change undertakes due to this ALE signal. This ALE signal becomes high at the beginning of T1, and it remains at high state before T1 T2 state has arrived. So during T1, the lower order address is sent through AD7 to AD0 lines. So it is output through address data multiplexed bus. This is also output through the higher order address bus, and now the opcode is input from the memory towards the CPU by the address data multiplexed bus during this read clock cycle, which has become low here for the expectation of opcode through these lines. So CPU has hit this RD bar signal as 0 so as to get this opcode from these lines. So now during T4 clock cycle, this instruction register will decode. The decoder which is connected after this instruction register, that will decode the instruction, and it will understand, CPU will understand that it is 1 byte instruction which is move A comma B, and the execution of this instruction would also be taken place during T4 clock cycle. So this is how this complete move A comma B instruction will execute. Okay. So is there any doubt? So we have also seen that if ready input signal is not 1, if suppose ready is equal to 0, so for that period some wait states would be introduced between T2 and T3 clock cycles. So this is wait state. Okay. So this will means the execution of the instruction will take some longer time if this ready input is not 1. So as soon as it becomes 1, the next T state would be T3 here. If it would not be 1, then this would also be T wait here. So this would be the T3. Okay, so this is how the execution of one instruction take place, and it is specifically for move A comma B instruction. So what will happen if suppose we have to execute move C comma M instruction? So let us see the timing diagram for this instruction, which is move C comma M. So in the last previous section we have seen the execution of move A comma B, where we can see that only the contents of B register are copied to the accumulator. But what will happen here? What is the general description of this instruction? What is the general description of this instruction? Okay. So what is move C comma M? that the contents of this memory pointer, which is indicating HL register pair. Okay, the contents of HL register pair would be some address. What microprocessor will have to do, it would have to approach to this address, which is being shown, which is being indicated by this HL register pair. So this HL register pair will indicate some address. So let us suppose that address is C001H. Sorry, let us suppose that is some address D300H, which has been shown here. Okay, and this instruction move C comma M has been stored in this location move C001H, and it is having opcode 4EH. So this instruction is stored in the memory location C001H, which is 4EH. The opcode for this instruction is 4EH, and the 4EH is opcode is for move C comma M. So this C comma M instruction means this M would indicate some memory location, and let us suppose that memory location is D300H here for the time being, and on this memory location 45H data has been stored. So this instruction, after execution, the contents of this HL register pair address would be copied into the C register. It will be copied into the C register. So what will happen here? Let us see that location C001H is having contents 4EH. Okay, which is the opcode for instruction move C comma M. The instruction would require in total 4 plus 3 equal to 7 clock cycles. So this instruction is somewhat different than that of move A comma B because it require 3 additional clock cycles for opcode fetch, OF, decode, and execution. Execution. So for performing these three operations, it would totally require 7 clock cycles. Okay, so we already know that these 4 clock cycles comprise one machine cycle, which is called as opcode fetch, or we will simply write it as OF machine cycle. Other three T states for this instruction that are required is called as memory read machine cycle. We would call it as MR machine cycle. So OF machine cycle and MR machine cycle. So memory read means this CPU has to read data from memory pointed out by this HL contents. So for that we would also require one another operation which is called as memory read cycle. So in the first 3 clock cycles we have already seen that first 3 clock cycles are used for the fetching of opcode, which is 4EH here. So the instruction register will receive this 4EH inside it during the first 3 clock cycles. And from where this would be received, this would be received from memory location C001H, from where we have stored this instruction. The decoding is done in fourth clock cycle. The decoding is done in fourth clock cycle. So the control unit will now understand that the opcode corresponds to the 1 byte instruction after decoding this instruction, and that instruction is move C comma M, because it has decoded this instruction. So after decoding, the control unit will understand that this instruction is move C comma M. Okay, and these four T states constitute to the opcode fetch machine cycle. Okay, so the four clock cycles would be required for, because the microprocessor has already been programmed by the manufacturer, by the designer of it, that how many machine cycles it would require to execute this instruction. So it would automatically understand that four clock cycles are required for opcode fetch machine cycle of this kind of instruction. Okay, so what will happen that in the meanwhile, program counter contents would have to be incremented to C002H, as we have seen in the previous instruction, move A comma B, where after the fourth T state, the program counter contents are incremented to C002H, but it will not happen here. Okay, means the uh, the C002H will not be sent, will not be sent out from program counter at this point. Because why? Because move C comma M instruction has not been executed till now, till fourth T state. So microprocessor would require to introduce some another machine cycles here. Okay, the control unit will automatically understand that for instruction execution, information should be sent in the C register from the memory location pointed out by the HL register pair. Okay, so this unit, so what will happen here, that this HL contents are D. What were the contents we saw previously? That the those contents of those HL contents are D 300H, I think. And this memory location, let us suppose that we have stored 45H. So that 45H data would be copied to the C register. So for this operation, we would require another machine cycle, which is called as memory read machine cycle. So let us say HL pair has value D300H, and the contents of the memory location D300H is 45H. Then this 45H should be received in the C register. Okay. What will happen here, that uh, HL contents are required to be copied to the C register. So control unit will direct the register select unit to select HL register pair. So there is one register select unit which will select this HL register pair as soon as this instruction will be decoded, because M means HL register pair. So there will be the use of this register select unit here, which will select HL register pair from all the register pairs available. And what will happen, the contents of this HL register pair would be copied to the internal address latch. So address latch, which we have already seen, those contents would now be copied from this HL register pair onto the address latch. So lower order contents means AD0 to AD7 would now be having contents, lower order contents of L register, and higher order address data bus A15 to A7 would be having now contents of this H register. So in total, A15 to A0 address bus would now be having contents of this HL register pair. So what will happen now? The memory would be pointed out by this address which is being propagated through A0 to A15 address lines, and microprocessor CPU will jump to that address which is now D300H. So this all will happen during T2 clock cycle of the T1 clock cycle of the next machine cycle. Okay. So similarly here, ALE signal, input output slash M bar signal, and S1 S0 signal will be would be S1 will become 1 here and S0 will become 0 here for indicating machine memory read cycle. Okay, getting. So this is how at the end of T2 85 will sense again the ready input. If ready input would be 0, then some wait states would be introduced. On the other hand, this ready input is if 1, then wait state would not be introduced, and the next clock cycle will be introduced immediately. So 8085 would now move to T3 state only when ready signal is means 1. Okay. So during this memory read machine cycle, what will happen actually? The address sent out from the register pair in the memory read machine cycle would depend upon this memory read machine cycle within an instruction. Okay. So now in the memory read machine cycle, similar operation will happen. That address would be sent through A15 to A0 lines, and that address would be constituted by HL register pair contents. Okay, so this all will happen during T1 and T2 clock cycle of the memory read machine cycle. So it will be now T5 and T6, because up to T4 there is opcode fetch machine cycle. So during T5 and T6, this all the means copying of pointing out of the memory location would constitute. On the other hand, during T7, the contents from this memory location D300H would be copied onto the C register. So contents from this those contents are suppose 45H that would be copied onto the C register during T7 machine cycle. So this is how the opcode fetch and memory read machine cycles constitute a complete instruction cycle of the instruction move C comma M. So anyone is having any doubt, he or she can ask. So let us look at the diagram. This is the diagram for execution of this instruction. Look at the diagram. 3 plus 1 clock cycles are required for opcode fetch of move C comma M. Now whenever these contents are required to be copied, 45H is required to be copied to C register, 3 another clock cycles would be required, which is called as one machine cycle, memory read machine cycle. So during that memory read machine cycle, this is the diagram for memory read machine cycle. So you have to add the previous 4 clock cycles here also. So then and then only it will constitute the complete timing diagram for move C comma M instruction. T1, T2, T3 and T4 as opcode fetch. It would now become T5, T6 and T7. So T5, T6, T7 would be these lines. Okay. these waveforms. On the other hand, the initial four T states will constitute as the opcode fetch cycle as we have previously seen during move A, B instruction. So in total, this timing diagram for move C, M would be having 7 clock states. So we have already discussed about that ALE signal will now again be activated, and during this ALE signal, this address would be sent through address data lines, okay, multiplex address data lines, and during this uh, RD bar when it is low, 45H would be sent to C register. So this is how the timing diagram is drawn. So we will stop here for today.